We had 32 pregnant does when our herd was quarantined for Johnes in December 2001. To protect the kids, we took them from their mothers at birth and raised them by hand. Thanks to powdered goat colostrum, recycled bottles, dedicated volunteers, and an early weaning mixture, we had good success. Being on hand to take the babies from their mothers was critical. We fed in the evenings so that does ruminated all night and delivered during the day. All kids were born between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. We dried the kids, weighed them, cut umbilical cords and dipped them in an iodine solution, and gave them their first meal. Starting a kid on a bottle can be difficult. Sometimes we put the bottle between our legs to simulate their mothers. Patting the kid on the hindquarters or tickling it under the tail as a doe might do with her nose stimulated suckling. Overfeeding can quickly kill a newborn kid. By patting its belly, we could feel when it was full. We tracked intake for each kid, and when they were regularly drinking 12 to 14 ounces twice a day, we moved them to the feeding barn. At the feeding barn, kids had to learn to drink from a bucket. We used the nipples they were accustomed to and held their heads in place until they sucked long enough to draw the milk up the hose. Experienced kids help teach novices. Some kids were not fast learners. Using force never worked. Sometimes bending their front legs so they were in a more natural position helped. Placing the kid on a nipple primed by a brother or sister was usually the best approach. We continued to guard against overeating at this stage. Until everyone was eating at the same rate, we pulled fast eaters from the bucket. Once everyone was eating at the same rate, our job was much easier. We mixed enough milk so each kid could get his share. In cases of runny stools, we increased the amount of milk replacer in the water. Be sure to pick one brand of milk replacer and stick with it. We found that switching brands increased the risk of overeating and bloating. Newborn kids learned to nurse faster if the milk was warm. As they got older, we used cold water to mix the milk replacer. This also prevents bloating. And for those of you interested in trivia, research reports that number of tail wags equals the number of sucks on the nipple. When kids were about 4 weeks old, we began weaning them to a dry mix. This was a procedure modified from one found to work successfully for lambs. We experienced some difficulties and made discoveries which are included in the written portion of the handbook. By September 2002, the does were found to be Johnes free. The whole herd is now at Camp Williams working again.